シーズン2勝を挙げている C1 セリカの実力は
It didn't deserve to go out like this. For decades, it was Toyota's performance flagship, rally victories, WRC legends, the GT4 monsters that battled Subaru and Mitsubishi in the world stage. But by the early 2000s, that world was gone. The Supra was dying, the MR2 was fading, and Toyota wasn't chasing championships anymore. The Celica, it was left with one last shot. On paper, the 7th Gen Celica should have been a hit. The GTS trim came with the 2ZZ-GE, a 1.8-liter engine co-developed with Yamaha that could scream to 8,200 RPM. It made 180 horsepower, had real VVT-Li cam lift like Honda's VTEC, and came with the 6-speed manual. Add in a chassis weighing under 2,500 pounds, and Toyota had built something sharp, light, and agile. Even the design was bold. Gone with the soft, rounded shapes of the 90s, the 7th Gen looked like it belonged in the future. Wedge-shaped, aggressive, a little alien. Park it next to an Eclipse or Civic Coupe, and it looked like a knife blade sitting in the parking lot full of spoons. So why didn't it work? Because the Celica carried a shadow it couldn't escape. Enthusiasts expected another GT4 turbo all-wheel drive rally pedigree. Instead, Toyota delivered a front-wheel drive coupe with a high-strung, naturally aspirated engine. So to diehards, this wasn't a real Celica. It was a sporty Corolla with the famous badge. And if the loyalists were already skeptical, the competition didn't make things easier. The Integra Type R was still the gold standard for front-wheel drive performance, and the RSX Type S was right around the corner. Subaru brought the WRX to America in 2001, and Mitsubishi followed with the Evo in 2003. Against the lineup, the Celica suddenly felt underpowered, under-equipped, and out of place. That's the irony. The Celica GTS was quick, but not the quickest, affordable, but not the cheapest, stylish, but not the flashiest. It existed in this weird middle ground, too raw for casual buyers, but not hardcore enough for purists. And Toyota didn't do it any favors. While Subaru's commercials screamed about rally heritage and turbo power, Toyota's marketing pushed the Celica as a sporty commuter. For a nameplate with such history, it was a letdown. But here's where the story gets interesting. The engineering itself was never the problem. The 2ZZ-GE went on to prove itself in the Lotus Elise 111R, a car worshipped by enthusiasts for its purity and lightweight handling. The same exact engine people dismissed in the Celica became the core of a legend when Lotus got a hold of it. And the chassis? Light, responsive, fun to toss around. Reviewers at the time admitted it was one of the sharpest rear-wheel drive coupes on the market. But the Celica's biggest weakness wasn't its driving experience. It was what Toyota didn't build. Because imagine this, a Celica GT4 reveal. Same 2ZZ engine, but turbocharged. All-wheel drive system, like Toyota was already offering in the 2003 Corolla and Matrix variants overseas. The pieces existed. Toyota just never put them together. If they had, the Celica would have gone head-to-head with the WRX and Evo at the exact same moment. Those cars were exploding in popularity. Instead, Toyota played it safe. By the mid-2000s, they were pouring resources into hybrids, sedans, and global volume cars. The Celica didn't fit into that plan. And in 2006, after 7 generations, the nameplate was quietly killed off. No GT4 proper send-off, no farewell edition, just gone. And here's the thing, that's why people wrote the 7th Gen off. Not because it was bad, but because it wasn't what they wanted. It wasn't the rally monster. It wasn't the Supra's little brother. It was a lightweight, high-revving, front-wheel drive coupe at the time that nobody seemed to want. But now, the world looks a little different. Cars like this don't exist anymore. Nobody's making affordable, high-revving sport compacts. Nobody's putting Yamaha-tuned engines in everyday coupes. And slowly, the Celica GTS is getting a second look. Because if you strip away the expectations, you see it clearly. A 2ZZ engine that lives for redline, a chassis that weighs pretty much the same as a new Miata, styling that screams early 2000s futurism, and a connection to Lotus that most people never knew about. The 7th Gen Celica wasn't the car that killed Celica's name. Toyota did that. What they left behind was a car that was misunderstood in its time, but today feels like a hidden gem. From rally champion to forgotten commuter, the Celica's story is complicated. But maybe that's why the last one deserves some respect. Because in its own way, the 7th Gen was still carrying the flame. And if you listen closely in that screaming Yamaha redline, you can still hear the echoes of the legend Toyota left behind. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Toyota's 7th Gen Celica, make sure to drop a like and hit subscribe. It helps us bring more of these hidden stories to life. What forgotten legends do you want us to cover next? Let us know in the comments. We're always digging for the overlooked and the obscure. Until next time, stay fast, stay curious, and never stop driving.